By the time Ghost entered the cloister, the high galleries had begun to fill. Lords and the sons of lords, ladies wrapped in fur against the marsh cold, servants threading between them with wine, steaming broth, and little boards of salt and dark meat. Ghost had not wished to come. No one had asked. Julian sat before her, his hands folded neatly over one knee. Now and again he glanced back, as though to assure himself she had not vanished. Sir Caldus Renvar sat at his right, the banneret betrothed to Julian's sister, tall and dark-haired, with gray gathering at his temples. He bore himself with the authority of a man who had already begun to think himself part of the family. He had been speaking for some time, of war, of fear, of how disciplined men might profit from both. Julian listened with courtly patience. Behind them, Casser smiled down into the cloister. Now it improves. Caldus turned his head. Improves? The ones yet standing have taken up the arms of the fallen. Nothing sharpens a coward, Caldus said. Casser smiled. You may yet be surprised by what the cloister makes of a man. Below, one of the iron gates opened. A man passed beneath the arch, Arethian. Ghost's gaze fixed upon him. He wore a short gray tunic, drawn close at the waist by a plaited belt. Worn leather boots rose beneath tightly bound leg wraps. A clean iron helm sat low upon his brow. Straps crossed his chest, holding a single plate of iron against it, dented along one edge. A round shield hung from his left arm, plain, scarred. In his right hand rested a short sword whose shape Ghost knew before the torchlight found its edge. A spine sword. Her fingers closed within the folds of her dress. The mud darkened, the galleries dimmed. Adius stood beneath the banners of the academy, armor bright upon his narrow frame, the spine sword newly sheathed at his waist, its edge yet untouched by blood. He had turned once, searching the galleries until he found her. She remembered how straight she had sat beneath his gaze. The far gate creaked open. Fenreach returned. The watchers began to stamp upon the planks. Cups rose, voices gathered, broke apart, and gathered anew. A marshlander came forth. The man was enormous. His shoulders might have torn a gate from its hinges. His neck rose thick from the mail. Pale arms hung heavy at his sides, corded beneath the hair and crossed by old scars. One ear had been torn and left to heal as it would. The tower shield seemed little more than a board upon his arm. The long blade, almost a knife in his hand. Wagers, my lords! Wagers! The betting boy came along the row, a parchment roll tucked beneath one arm, a little leather purse knocking against his hip. Casser crooked 2 fingers without looking away from the mud. Large sums tonight, Warden, the boy said. Weddings make men believe in miracles. Casser laughed. Miracles make poor investments, Nico. Julian looked down into the cloister. What are the odds? 6-5 upon the pale one, my lord. Caldus raised a brow. The Deepborn? Nico nodded. They call him the Ashman, sir, the boy said. They say he fought while a wreath burned. Caldus turned his gaze upon Nico. The Arethian host was broken in a single afternoon, yet every man who crawled from the ruin now calls himself a hero. Nico smiled, though not freely. You hold the Deepborn in such poor regard, sir? The banneret showed his teeth. They possess 2 talents, boy, dying in lines and leaving flexible widows. Laughter followed. A few among the nearby seats joined it. Ghost heard her own voice. 1 silver upon the Arethian. The laughter ceased. Nico blinked. Julian turned in his chair. Ghost? It was more coin than a year of being dressed, displayed, and sent to men's beds would place in her hand. That is rather much. Yes, my lord. Caldis regarded her with bright amusement. For the Deepborn? Ghost kept her eyes upon the mud. Yes, sir. Nico looked to Casser, as though folly required permission. Casser smiled. Let her wager. The boy swallowed, then marked it upon the parchment. The horn sounded below. Nico hurried from the row. At the cloister's edge, a man in a red sash raised one hand. Begin! The word carried through the galleries. A murmur passed among the nobles. Cups rose. Boots began to hammer the boards. The Marshlander advanced. His tower shield bit into the mud with every step. The long blade rose above his shoulder, then fell. The Arethian turned aside. His shield brushed the larger man's sword arm, and the long blade buried itself in the mire. The spine sword answered. A dark seam opened above the Marshlander's knee. The galleries drew breath as one. The Marshlander wheeled. His shield swept with force enough to cast a man from his feet. The Arethian was no longer there. The larger man pursued him. Sword rang against shield. Iron struck wood. The Marshlander came on behind the tower shield, blow after blow, driving the Arethian across the mud. The Arethian yielded by inches. He slipped beneath one stroke, turned another with the rim of his shield, and let a third pass close enough to stir the hair beneath his helm. Each time the Marshlander reached too far, the spine sword answered. Forearm, thigh, a red line across the wrist, and still they went on. Mud thickened beneath their feet. Their breath steamed in the cold. Blood darkened the Marshlander's arm and ran from his knee, yet still he pressed forward. The Deepborn gave him nothing clean. The Marshlander... Something broke in his patience. He drew the shield close and rushed. The Deepborn saw it too late. Iron-bound wood crashed against his shield. The blow drove him backward through the mire. One step, then another. His shield arm folded hard against his chest. Ghost leaned nearer. Caldis. The Deepborn tried to turn with the weight. His boots carved sideways through the mud. The tower shield slid past him, its edge tearing across his shoulder. The Marshlander drove past him. For one heartbeat, his flank lay bare. The spine sword cut behind his knee. The large leg folded. Before the tower shield struck the ground, the Arethian was upon him. The Marshlander twisted, wrenching the long blade around. The spine sword was faster. It passed beneath the rim of his helm and opened his throat. The long blade fell from his hand. Then the great man followed it into the mud. The lower galleries broke. Men pitched over the rails. Cups struck timber. Voices rose against one another until no word remained whole. Beside Julian, Caldis shifted. The smile had gone from his face. Cassar turned to Ghost. "A pity you have no taste for the cloister," he said. "You possess some gift for it." Julian raised a brow. He was not at fault. He could not know what she had never given him cause to know. Below, guards took the Marshlander beneath the arms and dragged him through the mud. His heels left 2 dark furrows behind him. Caldis watched them go. The large man forgot what his shield was for. The words came flat between his teeth. Ghost did not turn. The iron gate opened. The Arethian passed beneath the arch and vanished into shadow. Ghost's gaze remained upon the empty gate. Around her, the galleries still roared. Somewhere, amid the blood and din, her shoulders had drawn back. When Julian looked at her again, she did not lower her eyes.